I reviewed the CB1000R the other day, and that's a very cool bike. This is, I would imagine, somewhat of a competitor. And we're going to take it for a spin. Wow. More power than the CB1000R, I can tell you that right away. There's been a lot of Larimer County Sheriff traffic on this road, and so I'm going to be careful. It's kind of hard to do a review video of a fast bike without being able to go fast, but we're going to try to find a balance here between keeping the authorities happy and showing what this bike can do. Alright, one difference that I noticed right away is this is a cable clutch, not a hydraulic clutch, which, typically speaking, I really prefer the hydraulic clutch. And the reason for that is it's easier to operate, feels more smooth, but this is an extremely smooth cable clutch, so it really doesn't matter to me in that sense. There's a motorcycle coming up here. And so the clutch is smooth, buttery smooth. I have no problems with it being a cable clutch whatsoever. The suspension feels very nice. I've heard some guys say that they feel that the suspension on the front end is a little bit soft. There's some gravel there I was avoiding. I'm not sure yet. It could be right. Very nice rear suspension. I think the front feels great too. I love the seating position. It feels a lot like the CB1000R. I think the seat is a little bit less comfortable than the CB, but not uncomfortable. It's just firm. It's a firm seat. Cornering, beautiful, love it. Feels like it likes the corners even a little better than the CB1000R. Just really wants to dive in, lean in, easy, flickable. But guys, the engine, the performance is where this thing is just sick. I mean, I almost don't even have words, and I've barely even accelerated at all. I mean, here's second gear. Ferocious torque and acceleration from this guy. Ferocious. This is a cross-plane 3-cylinder engine. So let me explain from a layman's perspective what a cross-plane crank is. It basically means the pistons fire more often, and the rhythm in which they're firing produces higher performance. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm not a mechanical expert. I don't know exactly how a crank works in an engine, but that's the basic idea, is more performance. And I have to say, this is an upper 800cc engine as opposed to the CB1000 being either upper 900s or low 1000s. And this bike, I'm here to tell you, feels a lot more powerful than the CB1000R. Not a little. It's 100cc smaller, and it feels like 40% more power, 30% more power. It's nuts how much more power this bike has. So much more aggressive in the way that it is just poised to accelerate. I'm shocked at the power of this bike. It's a light bike also, so, you know, you really feel the power. Really feel the power. And, you know, it's at low RPMs, it's in a power band, it's, you know, everywhere you look for power in this bike, it's got it in spades. So if you are, you know, a torque and horsepower guy like me, you're gonna love this bike. Really confident in the corners, even though this has brand new tires. I mean, we're barely over 100 miles on the odometer with this bike here, and so I'm going to be careful with these tires. They're brand new tires, and Michelin, no, Bridgestone Battle Axe is what's on here, I think. So yeah, I'm going to be careful, both for the radar gun. Seems to be in a feeding frenzy lately. Apparently they're really having trouble protecting the public against people riding motorcycles around a lake. What was I saying? Now I'm off on my big government rant again. I gotta find some other places to ride that are just not such crop magnets. Yeah. This is the one, guys. Extremely nice suspension. It's just poised to corner and accelerate, and it's I remember a long time ago I had just gotten a Camaro Z-28 and I was giving a friend a ride, and you know, it was kind of lugging low in second, and I stepped on it, and his eyes got real wide, and he's like, "Oh man," he said, "that thing's just like a coiled spring waiting to go off." And that is a good analogy for the way this bike feels. It's like it is just ready. And I'm in standard mode. I have been messing a tiny bit with these modes here. This isn't technically my first ride on the bike. One of my first rides on the bike. And standard mode is, you know, a great default, great place to be. I find B mode, which is the, you know, docile old man mode, I find it to be very helpful in traffic. I mean, I've never had a bike that had, you know, dumb it down modes before, and you know, I scoffed at the very idea of that because, you know, I just said that's what riding abilities are for. You know, you want to ride less aggressively, do it with your hands, you know, and you can do that, you know. I mean, I've ridden in traffic in standard mode, and it's fine, you know, you adjust your riding, but it is helpful to have your throttle response altered in order to, you know, suit your riding environment. That's all it is the riding environment being suited to the throttle response. So it's not like it's, you know, pulling power from 2 of the 3 cylinders or some stupid, you know, neutering aspect like that. It is just changing the throttle response. And so, you know, sort of fine detailed movements in the throttle are not really processed by the computer. Yeah, so standard mode, This thing is poised and ready to be very naughty. I was being kind of sloppy with my acceleration there, and it was, you know, it was trying to do a wheelie. I didn't want to do that right there because I'm in the neighborhood here, and I'm kind of paranoid about cops and radar guns today because of my last ride. Anyway, this is a wheelie monster, I'm told. I've not tested that theory. Not this week. I'm getting harassed enough just for, you know, going 40 and a 35. Anyway, this bike, in the corners, off the line, in the straightaways, the braking is incredible. This may be the finest motorcycle I've ever driven. I think that's probably the case. I'm just sort of warming up to it as we drive around. This is an awfully fine bike. Oh, so nice. There's so much power coming from this bike. So the specs are somewhere between 45 and 60 feet-pounds of torque. I've read conflicting data on that, so it's somewhere in that range. It's about 115 horsepower. It's 414 pounds wet. So, you know, compare that to the illustrious V65 Sabre that my channel is named after, which is 121 horsepower, 65 to 70 feet-pounds of torque, but it's 525 pounds. So much, much heavier bike with only, you know, a couple more numbers on the horsepower. So, you know, the horsepower to weight ratio on this guy is much, much better. This thing is a screamer, guys. Again, the brakes are great. The mirrors look good. Shifting from gear to gear is extremely positive. There's no ambiguity about what gear you're in. You even have a gear indicator in the lower left-hand corner of this LCD up here. You've got miles per hour, big bold letters, fuel gauge. You've got a tach LCD across the top. I'm lukewarm on the way they displayed the tach. It's not terrible, but it's a little chintzy. It feels a little bit like a side issue, like it's not really taking up a lot of real estate on that screen. And to me, the tach is extremely important. Something that I would like to be, you know, a bit easier to focus on, concentrate on. So, you know, I wish that were a little bigger, a little more bold. I would think about maybe getting some sort of additional tachometer gauge or indicator of some kind. This is a monster machine, guys. It's got a 180 millimeter tire on the back. You know, fat, big, wonderful rear tire, 17-inch. Anyway, beautiful bike. Beautiful bike. That's the FZ-09, 2015. And I'll see you guys on the flip side.